Hi, I'm Anthony Johnson, Senior Vice President of Mortgage Educators and Compliance. Today I'm excited to share with you 9 study and test-taking tips for the national test. Let's dive in. The national test is a difficult test. It's also known as the SAFE MLO test, okay? Secure and Fair Enforcement Act Mortgage Loan Originator National Test. It's difficult, but you can pass it. According to the NMLS, about half or about 51% of people pass the NMLS test on the first try. The test not only is difficult, but it draws from multiple subject areas to make sure that you have learned the material for this industry. Okay, so what you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking a test that's going to be covering a broad amount of material that covers a variety of different topics in the mortgage industry. We here at Mortgage Educators have put together these 9 study and test taking tips to better prepare you to take the national test and pass it on the first try. Test tip number 1, read the root. What does that mean? Read the root. The root, just like a tree, the roots in a tree are the base of the tree, the base of the question, okay? The question without the answer, okay? So read the root. First, read the root meaning and make sure you understand the base of the question. Look out for double negatives. What is a double negative? A double negative is a statement that contains 2 negative statements, okay? So it's a question that has 2 negative statements in it. Okay, so these types of questions are all throughout the national test, okay, and they're going to be twisting the words. So make sure that you read the question thoroughly, understand the root, especially for the math questions. Be wary of the extra information that the question provides that you don't need to solve the problem, okay? These are paths that you don't want to get on because they're going to lead you astray, okay? So stay focused when you read that question on the root. So here's an example. To become an informed borrower, each borrower should receive from the lender all of the following except, and I'm going to give you 4 possible answers. A real estate purchase contract, B, a loan estimate, C, home loan toolkit, or D, the 1003. Okay, so do you see how in that question, they're trying to trip you up? Each borrower should receive from the lender all of the following except, okay? Read through that question and make sure that you know what you should receive, okay? All of the following except. So in this example, what we're trying to point out is you need to determine all of the things that the lender should be sending to the borrower to become an informed borrower, and then weed that out with what they shouldn't, okay? So this question, okay, loan estimate, yes. Home loan toolkit, yes. The 1003, the initial application, yes, meaning the correct answer would be A, okay? Do you see what I did there? Went through the possible answers, made sure I understand the question, all of the following except, and then determine the correct answer. Let's do another one. Annually adjusting ARM, adjustable rate mortgage, assuming that the starting rate was 5%, the margin is 2.5%, the index in the 12 months is 3.5%. What is the borrower's interest rate in 18 months? Okay, the answer is 6%, but what it's trying to do is throw you off with these possible answers. Again, you can see that the 5% is listed under A. You can see that 5.5, it's trying to steer you to a different path, okay? Remember, read the root of the question. What are you trying to determine? What is it saying? The correct answer is B, but how did we get there? Okay, test tip number 2, know your numbers. On the test, the NMLS will try to confuse you. It's a difficult test for a reason. For example, under the SAFE Act, what's the SAFE Act? Secure and Fair Enforcement Act. If you fail the national test, you must wait 30 days to take it again. After the 3rd attempt, you must wait 180 days before challenging the test again. The test might come at you with a question like this one as follows, okay? Test a 3rd time, how long must you wait to take the test again? Okay, so A, 1 month, B, 2 months, C, 6 months, D, 10 months, okay? So notice that all of a sudden the question was asked not in days, but in months, okay? You must convert what you know from the law, 180 days, into months. Doing so, we know that the answer is 6 months. But remember, it is at least 30 days, at least 180 days, but they will try to do that by just changing up the way the question's asked, which is important to know. Okay, 6 months versus 1 month. Be careful, know your numbers, make sure that you can convert them over into months if needed, years, days. Timing is a big part of the exam, so know your numbers is the test tip number 2. Test tip number 3, eliminate the incorrect answers. In almost every question, there will be answers you know are incorrect. Use these to your advantage. You have 4 possible correct answers, okay? It's multiple choice. If you eliminate 1 or 2, all of a sudden you have 2 possible answers. You need to get that percentage to your advantage. If you know an answer is wrong, then rule it out, cross it off. The more answers you rule out, the far better chance you have in finding the correct answer, okay? So let's do an example. Or believe an adjustable rate mortgage, an ARM, would be best for the borrower. What is the name of the booklet you are required to give? So if you know, for instance, okay, walk it through what you've learned in the past, adjustable rate mortgage. All of a sudden, you can eliminate C. Well, it's not going to be RESPA. It's not going to be the ARM disclosure. And then you're deciding between 1 or 2 answers. It's A, charm booklet. This strategy has worked effectively for several students at MEC. Is by eliminating the incorrect answers, you can make sure to give you a better percentage, even on those difficult questions. Okay, test tip number 4, look for clues in the question. So look for clues in the question that suggest the correct answer or rule out any choices. For example, if the question indicates the answer is plural, you can rule out any answers that are singular. The basic rule is the correct answer must make sense grammatically with the question presented. Options which fail this test can be ruled out. Okay, so look for clues. On every question, you're trying to get to that point where you can say, what's the most correct answer? 4 possible answers from the top, what's most correct? Okay, if you do that and you eliminate the least correct and look for those clues, you're going to be sitting really good on each of those questions. So now we've covered 4 test tips. I'm going to dive in and cover 5 study tips. Okay, so we're giving you 9 tips to help you pass that national test. Okay, study tip number 1, use that NMLS National Test outline. The NMLS gives you the best study guide out there, better than any other provider, education company that can provide test prep or provide practice questions. The NMLS provides this comprehensive test outline, which they update consistently, okay? The outline that is on their website is free for everyone. It is also the only document that the NMLS provides to course providers and to students, hopeful MLOs, to base their study for that national test on, okay? It would be wise for you to get to know that national test outline. I would suggest to print it out, make an outline out of it for yourself, take notes on it. At the end of that document, there is the national test reference list. And that reference list has website information. It gives you actually a variety of different website resources on all the topics that are listed. So for instance, RESPA, TILA, HOPA, questions about ARMs, mortgage products. They give you the actual content that the questions are created from, okay? So use the test outline, use it wisely. I would base your test studying on this national content outline that the NMLS provides. Okay, study tip number 2, learn the content. Don't memorize the answers, okay? This test is difficult. If it wasn't difficult, you could memorize the answers, but there's no answers to memorize. Okay, so learn the content, know it like the back of your hand. Practice exams are one way most people deem that they are ready to go and challenge the actual test itself. But remember, don't just memorize the answers. You're going to be sitting next to somebody that's also taking the national NMLS test, and their questions are going to be completely different because there's a question pool. So what you need to do is you need to be prepared by learning the content. We frequently get students asking this question: if I'm scoring between 80 or 90% on practice exams, am I ready to challenge the test? The truth is, no school knows which questions will be on the national test, okay? The NMLS doesn't release past exams. They don't release past questions. So what you have to do is get to the very, very top, be very confident in all of the content topics, okay? Remember that outline I just discussed? Go through that test outline. Look at each of the topics. Are you confident in this content? Are you confident in this topic? Make sure that you feel confident, but also knowledgeable in these topics that you're learning, okay? 80, 90% is a good threshold, but I would even go higher. You're scoring above 90% on these practice exams that you may get from a provider like Mortgage Educators or others, or maybe you create your own practice exams. Maybe you create your own practice questions from the outline. If you do that and you're scoring 90+%, you're going to be sitting in a good position as you go in to take the exam. Let's get to study tip number 3. Study with a plan. Too often people are just studying to study, and they're kind of not guided on what they need to study. You must have a plan in place, how long you are going to study and what subjects you're going to be tackling. Come up with a schedule. Sit down, use that test outline. This week I'm going to cover federal laws, and then I'm going to cover the 15 plus federal laws and break it up into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Having a specific schedule has been effective for students that pass on the first try. Use the NMLS test outline as a guide. Make sure that you're using your practice exams effectively. We have a variety, mortgage educators, of practice exam questions broken up into small mini tests basically. And so what we do and what we recommend is go through, study the content, learn the material, then have a plan. Well, I'm going to test myself on Tuesday, and I'm going to test myself with the comprehensive test. We have comprehensive tests, we have small topic tests, but come up with a plan that works effectively for you so you can get to that comprehensive level. When you feel that you can comprehend the material and then you feel confident in answering these questions, then you can set a date for that NMLS test. Go through what you know, what you don't know, okay? Try to identify those areas that you're struggling with, those areas that you don't quite understand, okay? Write them down. Here's the things that I do know. Here's the items that I'm struggling with, that I need some additional help, some supplement material, some more guidance. And as you identify those areas, then you can study with a plan, okay? You're gonna need these tools to pass that national test. Okay, study tip number 4. Know how you learn. People learn differently. There's all sorts of different strategies and what works best for certain students, but you've got to determine how you learn the best. It will help you lay out a game plan on how you're going to study. Maybe you're more of a visual learner, so watching videos, seeing material to be taught in person is better for you. Maybe you're more of a listener, so listening to videos, podcasts help you the most. Maybe you have a recorder yourself that you're recording notes and you listen back to that. Listen back to what's RESPA, what's TILA, when do I issue the closing disclosure? How long does it take to get a credit report back? These items, try to learn the concept and then quiz yourself on it. Not everyone can sit down and pull out a book and just memorize the whole book and retain the information. And that's the key word, retain. You're trying to retain the information so you can apply it not only to the national test, but you can learn it yourself to be a successful mortgage loan originator. Everyone learns it in a different way. Use your own learning method to your advantage. And finally, study tip number 5. Take advantage of all your study material. Leave no stone unturned. Here at MEC, we provide our students with all the material they need to help them study, but some students need more. And we often get students that call us who are discouraged because they didn't get the score that they wanted, or they're struggling with their study prep, and they just don't feel like they're comprehending everything. And we point to these different resources. And sometimes, in most situations, they haven't utilized all of their resources, okay? Between the NMLS study test outline, between Mortgage Educators complete test prep, which we have a variety of different packages that you can get more material, more resources, practice exam questions, flashcards, you can get videos, you can even get one-on-one tutoring. If you don't use all your resources that you have available, then that's not going to give you the best opportunity to pass on the first try. Use all the material you can. Just because you go through the NMLS 20-hour course doesn't mean you're prepared to pass the test, okay? It all comes down to you using the material, studying it, retaining the information, building up that confidence, understanding how the mechanics of the test work, and then identifying any areas that you're struggling with so that you can get into the test, not be surprised, and then pass on the first try. Thanks for taking the time with me today to discuss ways to help you pass that national test. If you found these tips helpful, you can visit our website, mortgageeducators.com. Click on Test Prep to check out all of our recent NMLS Test Prep package options. From everyone here at Mortgage Educators and Compliance, we wish you the best as you go in, you study, you take that national test, and we hope you pass on the first try.